Welcome back to the up and down matches here in Seoul, South Korea for the WCS Korea series here. We have had a few games played already, Jokji and Effort both being 1-0, Shine and KangHo at the bottom. Hurricane, of course, still yet to play because he needed a little bit more time for setup, but he will be playing next.
Yeah, he can actually be quite happy that the last game lasted only a few minutes, because then he got the extra break and he wouldn't have gotten that usually, so normally now he has a bit more time to prepare his setup. He's going to play against KangHo next, and the match more important for KangHo than it actually is for Hurricane. We talked about this already in the past. If you are down 2 games in a 5-player group, then you have to hope for a tiebreaker.
Yeah, that's when things start to really hurt and things get a little bit out of hand. KangHo player, I think a lot of people will be surprised if he does not get out of this group. He's not because he's better than anybody in the group necessarily, like he stands out, but just because historically speaking, he's been in Korea so often. He's up there in the Premier League all the time, and he's somebody that you expect to be in the Premier League, not in the Challenger League.
Yeah. For me, really, I mean, I said it before, but I want to just qualify this a little bit more. Jokji and Hurricane, for me personally, the players to watch out for today, because I personally think that Jokji has it in him to go back into the Premier League, and he has been very adamant about just stating how he thinks he can now finally show his skills once again and do what he wanted to do in the past. After he won his GSL, he dropped off the grid completely and he wanted to go back into the Premier League. He might be there.
Yeah.
But he lost in the 3rd round of the Challenger League, and every single time he was matched up against very strong opponents, so that might be his group. And with Hurricane, I mean, you talked about it already. Hurricane is one of those players who might get his shot here. We all know how good Offert is. We all know how good and how he struggles sometimes. But these are just things where I feel that Hurricane is someone who can still make that name out for himself.
Yeah,
if you follow the GSTL, if you follow everything, then of course you know who he is. But everyone who is just focusing on Premier Leagues will probably never have heard of Hurricane. So that is kind of his chance.
Yeah, it's his chance. There's a lot of money as well in the Premier League. So we did get an update that Hurricane apparently is still not quite ready. I don't know what that's going to mean, but we are going to Effort versus Jokji, our
Shine.
4th match. Or Shine.
It should be Jokji versus Shine, if I'm not mistaken. The 4th match is going to be played first, and if I don't have the wrong information there, then it's going to be this one. No, you're actually right. It's Effort versus Shine. My bad. I actually mixed something up here.
Effort versus Jokji.
Yeah.
Effort versus Shine already happened. Well, let's see how this one plays out. Jokji already taken out one Zerg, and he's looking to do it again. Effort, the lowrider Zerg over here, sitting a bit higher in his chair these days. I like his keyboard.
This is the game that I personally said earlier interested me a lot, and it's mostly because of how poorly Effort played against Marine King at the WCG qualifier. It's of course not the only game that you have to watch out for if you talk about Effort's Terran versus Zerg, but it was very indicative. And I want to see how Jokji really measures up against an opponent like Effort here. So for me, this is going to be one of the most exciting games today.
Yeah, I think so. You know what? My eyes are always drawn to that bison on Jokji's shirt.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what's funny is on Jokji's shirt, there's also a shirt. Here we go. Jokji already 1-0 in the group, so is Effort. Who's going to take the 2-0 here at the WCS Up and Downs for Korea?
And starting to the bottom right, we have the Casper player. This is for CJ Entus.
CJ Entus Effort.
An Effort in his first and only Zerg versus Terran. He's up against the player to the bottom left of the map. For My Insanity in blue, this is
My Insanity Jokji.
And both of them not with the best record in this matchup. This is once again one of these games. We talked a little bit earlier about Jokji's statistics in the Terran versus Zerg when he was up against KangHo, a match that he won, by the way. He has now in total a 46% win ratio with 6 wins and 7 losses. Effort, if you look at his stats, he's played a lot more games and televised matches in Heart of the Swarm. We are, of course, only looking here at the offline statistics, which is really important for us. And he played 27 matches, which is actually a lot. And he won only 12 of them, so that leaves him with a 44% win ratio. Was taken out by Flash just recently with an 0-2. Marine King defeated him as well, taking 2 maps without dropping a single one. That was the WCG match that I mentioned earlier. So Effort has a little bit of work to do. And as both of them are currently in a 1-0 position in the group, this is a very important match for both of them. If you win this game, you have a pretty good chance of making it into the Premier League already.
Yeah, exactly. Starting with a 2-0 is the opposite of starting with an 0-2. Starting with an 0-2 is, of course, more extreme because nothing is in your control. If you go 1-1, it's much better for you comparatively. But this is definitely the best momentum you can get early on in the group. Newkirk is a 2-player map. It's the map I like to call the head-to-head map. It's almost like Final Destination and Smash Bros. Or something where it's just like a flat arena where the two people are just going to walk across the same path and attack each other. Yeah, there are run-by paths you can take. There are exposed bases, but usually it doesn't come to that.
And Jagchi shows the gas. He could have tried to hide that a little bit longer with just getting the refinery to the left side. It's of course not something that he can hide for long, but it's something that he can attempt to do. He shows it right off the bat, puts the refinery to the right side, very well aware that the Overlord is going to spot it, and goes now into, of course, his own, well, will go into not only the Reaper, but then later on also the factory here. A scout with the SCV just at the beginning to find out if Effort is getting gas, which is the case.
I really wonder what Effort's going to do, because for Jagchi, I expect that he's going to do basically the same thing he did already previously, and just crash into his opponent over and over and over again with heavy upgrades, fast attacks, just attacking by ground most of the time, not so much going for the drop play, and just continuing to threaten his opponent by ground until eventually Effort runs out of steam. So I feel like the onus here is on Effort to figure out how to deal with that style. He's been able to sit back and watch what Jagchi already did.
Ooh, wow. Look at that Effort actually dropping that roach run very early. He wants to knock at his opponent's door with just a couple of roaches. And Effort is up against the first bunker already. So Jagchi scouted this and he looks for the first gas. He sees it, scouts for the second, sees there's no second extractor, and immediately drops the bunker. He also did not go into Reapers. He immediately started with his Marines here and went into a factory. So that's going to be really interesting. I want to see how he is holding up against this. If he has good repair, if he pulls his SCVs, he should be fine.
Yeah. I think it's going to be, what, 11 roaches coming out of this one? Something like that. We'll see. He's got a lot of larvae saved up here. It's going to be 7 at first. And got a few more gases he can use.
He also has the lava at the... I don't think that his natural... Okay, now he sees that there's lava. I feel that the natural was not part of his group yet.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Therefore, we have the 10 now. He needs the Widow Mines, and he needs them fast.
Yeah, he's gonna have to get those out really fast.
If he goes Hellions, that will not help him.
No, in fact, if he goes Hellions, he might lose too much here. And he starts the first Hellion.
Yeah,
he doesn't know, what Effort is doing. That's the problem for him. He's got the wall. He doesn't have anything in that bunker. Now he does.
Nice. He cancels the Hellions. He realizes that something is off here, but the Widow Mines might be a little bit too late. He gets the Marines out now into the bunker. At this point, really, what you need to do as a Zerg is focus down the SCVs. You will not be able to break through and take your opponent down. That's not why you go for this build. You go for the build because you want to get an advantage. Oh my God, Jagchi!
Oh, he sees it now.
Sees it now. Widow Mines will be there. Marauder is on the way. He has everything that he needs.
He has everything he needs. It's all about the micro of Effort. How many SCVs will he be able to target down here? 2 Widow Mines. How good is the Roach split? Does he tank it? Doesn't look like it.
Go. There they are. And bam! Double Widow Mine hit. That was really well done. And really nice moves here that we see from Jagchi. He always pulls the SCVs back. He knows exactly what Effort's only mission here is.
He loses almost nothing.
Yeah, it was a great defense. Well, as I mentioned earlier, Effort wants to take down SCVs. He knows that he will not be able to break through the wall, and even if he does, it's very unlikely that he can finish his opponent off. The objective of this build is to get ahead in Harvesters and get a lead. And Jagchi knows that too. So Jagchi just dances with his SCVs around the bunker, and he always tries to draw those roaches in, make them lose a few precious seconds where the Marines get shots off, where the Widow Mine cooldown goes low. Then he moves in, repairs the bunker again, moves back, loses 3 SCVs in the process, but a great position for Jagchi here now.
Yeah.
Such a good defense.
It looks like the follow-up for Effort is to go for 2-base Spire. Well, they will start the 3rd hatchery potentially here as well, but it's going to be a lair that started on 2 bases very quickly. And this is a good map for Mutas because there's so much dead space for the Mutas to hide in, and also they can go directly to his base and do the damage where it hurts. But Jockji, I feel like he'll be prepared for this. He already has the eBays up.
The problem that we have is that with the Widow Mines that we already have on the map, Jockji has something that he can use against the Mutalisk.
Yeah.
And the eBays that you just mentioned, they are really important. The scan also sees the double gas, and another scan goes down in the main base, and he sees already the lair tech and the double gas in the main, so he's like, really? Mutalisks in 2 bases? Alright. The third is being built, but still, this is the Spire build that we see here.
I like the scans. You know, that's a lot of minerals that he's not going to get as quickly as he would like, but he already did so well against the Roach Puss. He has the triple orbital. So the double scan here, I think, is well worth it, and I really like that choice.
One of the problems that you have with a fast Spire build is that you're neglecting your own upgrades, and that comes into play when the Terran player focuses on his own attack and armor. And that's what Joggji does. Joggji does get the double engineering bay early on in the game. He knows that he already has a lead upon his opponent, so he gets the double upgrades here. And with effort rushing that Spire out and saving all of that gas, he's now in a position where effort is just falling so far behind in upgrades that later on in the game, in the late mid-game, Joggji will have a massive lead over effort. But we have effort still with the Baneling Nest there, and he has Speed Force Roaches, so he could try to fake his opponent out. And what I love about the CJ Entus player is that he's actually willing to take that gamble to build a hatch at the top left, because he knows, I'm behind, I need to do something, I need to risk something here, and that's what he does.
Exactly. That's a great map for it too, because usually that base doesn't ever even get taken by either player in this map, on this matchup, and in any matchup too, for that matter.
It just has a nice touch.
Yeah, and as long as he doesn't try to do a drone slide over there, he could get away with the drone slide, but if he doesn't try to do it, it's definitely not going to be scouted. If it gets scouted, then Joggji is one of the safest players in the world to check for something crazy like this.
Joggji has also to be a little bit careful. Usually if you go for this, you do not really get the roach speed, but that's something that we have here for effort, so he has a few more options. He's getting the Mutalisks now, but that should not do too much. It has already been spotted what kind of build we are going to see here from the Zerg, so Joggji should be ready. He's missed his timing for the armory a little bit, and that definitely gives effort time to catch up a little bit, but he still does not have the overloading chambers. He's just now building them.
That Overseer not long for this world. Roaches, rather Lynx to the north.
What's in the main base, though? Do we have turrets? No, we don't.
Nothing. He's totally skimped on them.
Oh, wow. I'm actually a little bit surprised to see that we have nothing here.
Yeah. The Roaches up here at the top get taken out, they get spotted. The base of the top left, on the other hand, does not. And there are enough Marines here. He doesn't have enough mutas. And whoa, he's going to even lose one carelessly here. He will get some SCVs at the third base.
Yeah, there are no Widow Mines anymore at the third. I'm a little bit surprised. He had so many of those. So he leaves himself a little bit open.
Doesn't work out.
Yeah, that trap doesn't really work for him now, but still, he did a little bit of damage, not too much. It's not like he suddenly is back in the game, but Joggji took a few losses that he could have avoided.
Just that few missteps with the mutas where he lost a few of those, that's what makes this not worth it. Had he kept all the mutas alive, it would have been totally okay. 2-2 starting at the exact same time that 1-1 starts for effort. There's nothing about this game that says effort has an edge. He's trying to make one right now, but I really like Joggji's position. He's got defense against the mutas now starting to get set up here. Not enough Marines, but 2 turrets going to deter them. He's also got a push going across the map, and I don't think effort has enough to hold this. He just lost all of his earlings to a Widowmine shot. He's making Banelings.
Yeah, and he makes the Banelings in a good position, so that should not be the issue. The Mutalisk control is really good, though, dancing around the missile turret, taking down SCVs and mules alike. But now in the middle of the map is being pushed by this Bio army from the Terran player. And Joggji can really make something happen here if he pushes through. Keep those upgrades in mind, too. We have, once again, the armor upgrade coming up. The +2/+2 for Bio is also on the way.
Yep. Scanning, killing a few of those tumors, pushing through. Creep proceeds. This further gives a bit of a problem to effort. Joggji's perception here is, of course, that, okay, he doesn't have a 4th base. I'm on 3 bases, too. I'm in a great spot. He still has no idea about the base of the top left. And that's one little risk. That's one corner that effort has cut that gives him a slight edge.
Yeah. That is that Ninja expansion that we talked about earlier. That is the one thing that effort is banking his hopes on. But it has been spotted. Now it has been spotted. There is a unit to the top left. The base is not hidden any longer. And the drop is already on the way.
Yeah, the drones are out of there.
Immediately the drones are being pulled. And that's actually a really good choice. Because at this point already effort knows that this base is not going to survive.
This Mutalisk flock over here is, well, it could have done a lot for him.
He could still. I mean,
he could still. He just doesn't use it. It's a little bit strange.
They're on +1 attack already. The second attack upgrade is being researched now.
Looks like that drop was why, but he doesn't even get the drop. This is not good. The Muta's hesitating a lot here, which means this drop should be able to get a few harvesters. And I'm a little bit surprised he didn't actually chase with the Medivacs to kill the drones that were escaping from the hatchery. As it kills the hatcheries, it keeps his supply lead drop not doing as much as I thought.
2-2 is now done, and he need 3-3 immediately. I love it. Jagchi really focusing on the upgrades, and that's what he has to do here. That will give him a huge edge against Effort, but he needs to play a little bit more aggressive than he did in the game against KangHo, and that's exactly what he does. He also can, because that's a very different unit composition that we have for the CJN2 Zerg. He's pushing in, and he wants to take down that fourth, and he has pretty good chances of making that happen.
Yeah.
Nice
split on the Widow Mine, and goodbye drones. This base is dead as well. That was kind of a dream, not a reality, keeping that base alive.
Drilling Claws are also coming into play now. That's something that he neglected a lot in the game against KangHo, but he's playing so Widow Mine heavy in this game here against Effort. Good hits, 3 base economy for the Zerg, and that's never a good position 17 minutes into the game against a Terran player who's on 3 base on his own, getting additional orbitals already, and has the lead in upgrades over you.
Yeah, 3-3. Unlike last game, Jagchi, or last game that Jagchi played, he does get the burrow for the Widow Mines. Last time he was just going double reactor Widow Mine. Yeah. He still has a ton of Widow Mines, so he can actually do this and to keep his Widow Mine count high. That Widow Mine is going to get a great shot off on those Mutalisks. Boom. Yeah. Hatchery gets killed without even a cancel.
This is getting worse and worse for Effort. He is down in supply. Here comes Jagchi, but the Zerg player trying to push it back. Widow Mine hits are decent, and the rest of the army is moving in. Even more Widow Mines are now coming in as reinforcements.
What are those drones thinking they're doing? That hatchery was not even close to being complete in the first place. Then it was killed. Loses all of those harvesters, losing an Overlord as well.
The drones are just not able to work under those conditions.
No.
They're probably going on strike.
Well, they would have perhaps if they had survived, and Widow Mine coming over, or rather Overseer coming over to deal with the Widow Mines, but there's just so much pressure here. Jagchi now dropping at the 3rd base.
Infestation Pit is now done for Effort, but that might be too little too late. We have drops everywhere for Jagchi. He's pushing in at the 3rd base. No splits this time, occupied on the map, but still with the help of the Widow Mines, he's able to take down most of those bases. And once again, a great Widow Mine hit here, making sure that 5 of the Banelings don't do anything at all. Too many go down against too few Marines.
Yeah, Jagchi's pushing through despite not really microing properly here. The Mutas in the main base, though, there's no answer for those.
Look at this massive bank that we have for Effort. He has such a problem with lava. That's his biggest problem right now. He's trying to reinforce again with the Zerglings in the main base. Actually, great snipe against the engineering bay, taking down the 3rd attack upgrade before it's completed. That was a really good move by Effort.
Yeah, he's also got the hive started now, so he is trying to close that gap in upgrades. The issue here, of course, being Jagchi's main army on the ground. He needs to micro that, because had he microed against those Banelings earlier, he might have already won this game. As it is, he did not. He needs to burrow these Widow Mines. Does not want to lose them to the Zerglings. They could be so useful right now.
He needs to hit that T button as well.
Yeah, he certainly does.
Nice. We really love the macro that Effort is currently showing us. This multitasking is keeping him in the game for a little bit longer. The question is for how long? The evolution chambers are being taken out, and we don't have the hive just yet, but that will further delay the 3rd upgrade. 4 armor and 4 attack. Now suddenly the Banelings here, nice block at the ramp. That is so awesome with those Marauders. That will keep the Banelings on top of the ramp for a long, long time.
Exactly. There's no way he's going to try to break down against that. The drones burrow here, but they're being taken off one by one. Jagchi falling apart with his base defenses, but it looks like it just may not matter because it just has so much with his blunt force attack he's going in through here. Muta's coming into now his natural, very much exposed. He never rebuilt his turrets, so he's a little bit on the edge when it comes to defense, but his offense, you know, they say a good defense, or the best defense is a good offense.
The natural is already gone though for Effort, and he's on 2 mining bases now. He still can't get those Banelings down to the low ground. We have another planetary now on the map for Jagchi, and all he has to do really is to either take down these 2 bases at the top, the 2 hatcheries, limit the production, or just go into the main, one of the 2.
Yeah. 11 Marines at a time popping out here for Jagchi, despite his economy being slightly affected. These Banelings rendered useless by that Marauder wall at the front. And the Muta's trying to find somewhere. They're just trying to find a weak point, but they're being chased by STEM Marines. There's enough Marines here at the planetary to fend off the Mutas. He loses the Overseer. That means he's going to be less likely to fly these Mutas in because of possible Widow Mines. He flies right over the Marines. He has a ton of Mutas. He has 22 of them, but they can't fight Jagchi's army, and the army is the bigger problem for him.
And this is going to be the nail in the coffin. The Marines and the Marauders still going strong on top of that ramp. All the Banelings are just simply trapped, and even with the SCV losses that Jagchi had to endure, his economy is much better. His position is great. He takes the game. GG. And Effort is now 1-1 in the group, and Jagchi takes an easy peasy 2-0.
Easy peasy.
In one of his worst matchups, by the way.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, like coming into this group, he was on a 44% win ratio in this matchup, and he took down 2 of the 3 Zergs that he has to face today.
He is looking really, really good. And I'm happy for him, you know? He's got a new team. His team's got to be happy for him, too. He takes a 2-0 lead here, taking out 2 Zerg players. Even having to play his match faster than anticipated, still takes out Effort. And Effort now finds himself, of course, on a 1-1 score. He's not anywhere near out of the group just yet. He won the ZVZ. So this is a minor setback for him, but it doesn't mean that he's going to be stressed out about this necessarily, especially considering that's the only Zerg versus Terran he has to play today. It's already out of the way. He can now focus on other things, especially his ZVZ, which is already very, very strong.
The next game that we're going into is the originally 3rd match that we planned. It is KangHo, and he's going up against Hurricane.
He's going against Kurt Cobain. I'm like, well, no, not this
No,
time.
not quite. Like, yeah.
Well,
we're a little bit delayed for that match.
Yeah, a little bit. Too bad Starcraft wasn't around in those days. We'd be in a different world right now. KangHo puts on his headset over that hair he always changes. He loves to switch it up. And he's just trying to get himself warmed up in the booth. He is, of course, 0-1 right now, playing a completely different matchup. He, like Effort, already has his Zerg versus Terran out of the way.
He looks like a ringer here, actually.
Yeah, he does.
Looking in the booth, you know, just his knuckles and with a shoulder roll, head from the left to the right. He's like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go for this.
Yeah, he certainly looks that way. Hurricane looking like an assassin. Expressionless, emotionless, ready to take his first win. He says, yeah, you guys look at all the group standings, but don't forget about me. I haven't played any of my games yet, and I'm ready to take you down.
And he has to show us something now. Going into the match here at the WCS Up and Downs, our last group, it is KangHo versus Hurricane. The game brought to you by Carl Wolf.